EasyMag's Universal Magnetic Door Attachment is an innovative product designed simply to replace the use of zippers. Our strong magnets easily align and will effortlessly close the door on your golf cart enclosure. Let's show you how to install it. For our demonstration, we'll be installing the Universal Magnetic Door Attachment on an over-the-top enclosure. The Universal Magnetic Door Attachments will also work with track-style enclosures commonly found on personally owned golf carts. As you can see, we have the two magnetic strips that came, one with a logo that will go on the driver's side, and one without a logo that will go on the passenger side. So we'll go ahead and take the passenger side and push that out of the way, and we'll be working with the driver's side. So I've got the enclosure sitting on a table, and what we do recommend is you put the magnetic strip on a flat surface to be able to attach it. We do not recommend trying to attach it with the enclosure already on the cart. It makes it a much more difficult process. So we're going to start with the back end of the door. So here's the driver's side, and there's the front end of the cart, and here's the back end of the cart. So first of all, separate the magnetic strips. So this is going to go on the front portion of the door. We'll move that out of the way. And we'll also move the material of the door up out of the way as well. So now we're going to work the logos at the top of the cover. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to open the flap, and you're going to see the grommets that we're going to put our non-slip pins on. There's 6 non-slip pins that will keep the magnetic door in place from sliding. So we're going to start from about 3 inches below the bottom of the enclosure, and you can see the grommets there, and we're going to always work from the bottom when putting the pins through. So I can see where to put it, and then we're going to push it through the tape of the zipper, then through the bottom grommet, and then through the top grommet, and then we're going to go ahead and push it through the tape. Connect, and now we're going to go ahead and flap the two flaps over top of each other, and then pull the magnets to the very end and flap it over top. So now the second set of grommets, and you'll notice that on the magnetic strip they go every other one. This one's on top, this one's on underneath, this one's on top, this one's underneath. So when we're putting the pins on, we want to work from underneath the tape so we can see that the grommets are on top of the tape. So we're going to flip the material over and work from the bottom. So there's the grommets. We're going to go ahead and get it lined. So now this is very important to do. See how we have that tape sitting nice and flat, and there's no kinks in the tape. So we're going to make sure the tape is nice and flat, and the zipper chain is right towards the V of the flap. Okay, so we've got it nice and flat, and we can see the two grommets, and we're going to work from the bottom grommet. So I can see that that's where I need to push it in through the tape. And then put it through the bottom grommet, and then through the top. And then go ahead and line it through the tape. Push it through. Attach. And then I'll go ahead and flip it back so that you can see that now the two magnets are pulled towards the center. We're going to go ahead and pull them apart and push them towards the ends. So each of them is towards the end, and then we're going to flap it over and have it sit nice and flat. Okay, so now the next set of grommets are sitting right there. So once again, we want to make sure that that tape is nice and flat. And there we can see the grommets there. I'll grab a pin, push it through the tape. It'll go through that bottom grommet first, then the top, Then I'll push it through the tape. Go ahead and attach. And then here's the magnets. We're going to push them apart, put it in, and then flap it over. So you can see how that material is sitting nice and flat. There's no kinks in the material. So now we got the grommet on top, so we're going to flip that material over so that the grommets are underneath the tape. Okay, and so then we've got it sitting, the flap sitting down. We're going to make sure that tape is nice and flat. There's the grommet, but we're going to start from the bottom grommet. Push it through. Push it through the bottom grommet, then through the top, and then through the tape. Okay, and then I'll flip it back over and then adjust the magnets. Okay, so here's the magnets right here. Pushing them out to the side and flapping it over. So these need to be readjusted. There we go. Got it nice and flat. Okay, so these next set of grommets are underneath the tape. So we got it nice and flat. Start from the bottom grommet, push it through the tape. And you can see now we're into the plastic portion where the tape is sewn onto the plastic. We do not want to puncture the plastic. We want to push it through the tape and then through the bottom grommet, then through the top, then push it through the tape, connect it. All right, we have that, and so here's the magnet on this side, on this, and then just flaps right over. All right, we're on the last one. So these are on the top, so we're gonna go ahead and flip it over, push it on, and you can see how that tape is nice and flat. And we're gonna start with that bottom grommet, push it through the tape, through the bottom grommet, through the top, push it through the tape, attach that, and then I'll go ahead and lay it flat so that you can see. Here's the flap. Okay, so there's the magnet. We'll flap it over. And there you have it. Now we have the back portion of the magnetic strip attached to the cover. And now we'll work on the front portion. All right, now that we have the back portion completed, we're going to work on the front portion of the door to put the magnetic strip on. So we're going to go ahead and move that out of the way. And now we're going to put on the front portion of the magnetic strip. Now there's some important nuances on putting this strip and how we put the pins on. And so we want to make sure that we show you that. So we're going to go ahead and align the magnetic strip up first. We're going to actually go ahead and put two portions on and get it in place because the grommets are on the top and we want to work from the bottom. But the most important thing that we do is make sure that we have it aligned that same 3 inches that we had on the back portion. So we'll go ahead and put that portion on, and then we'll go ahead and separate the magnets here and put this portion on so that it'll stay in place because we need to flip the material. So we'll go ahead and flip the material. Now we're going to be working from the bottom. So now we're going to go ahead and open the flap up, and we're going to attach the pin, and so we still have that 3 inches. And so with this portion, what we're going to do, we have been working with the bottom and then working to the top. The bottom portion and the top portion the pins need to go on differently. The pin needs to be worked from the top to the bottom, and we'll show you why. So we're going to first of all go ahead and get it in position, work it through the tape, work it through the top portion, which it makes it a little tougher, but you can do it, and then work to the bottom portion, and then through the tape. Then go ahead and push it through, go ahead and align, and then we're going to flip it over so that you'll see the reasoning. As that, so now when we show you, and we open the flap, the pin portion, there's more mass of the pin that we need to stay out of the way of the magnet. So then we have a small portion here. So if we had the pin in reverse, or that mass portion of the pin, it sometimes inhibits the magnets. And so that's why we wanted to do it differently. So on the bottom, that mass portion where the pin connects should be towards the top. Then we'll separate the magnets, put the flap over, and you can see that the pin is not in the way. And so now we're going to go ahead and work with the next portion, which is underneath. And so once again, we're going to make sure that zipper tape is nice and flat. There's our two grommet holes. We're going to go back into working from the bottom, push it through the tape, work through the bottom grommet, then the top, then go ahead and push it through the tape. Okay, so now I'm going to, that example to where I might have gotten the pin a little bit too far away when I pushed it through, so I'm going to go ahead and start over so you can see this. So that when I pushed it through, the pin pushed way through, and there was like too much, there wasn't enough material to work with. So now I'm going to go ahead and push it through the pin, and then push it back, so I've got a little bit more room. Now I'll push it through the tape, and then attach it. And so now when you see that I push it through, to see how there's a lot more room, and that'll make the pin fit a little bit better. So those are some examples to see. And so we're going to go ahead and pull the magnets towards the end on both flaps. Lay it nice and flat, and then go ahead and put it in position. You can see how nice and flat that material is. So now we're going to go ahead and work with the next grommets, which we can see are on the top. So we're going to need to flip the material. But let's go ahead and put the tape in. Nice and flat. Flip it over. And so now we're going to go ahead and flip the material over. Okay. Okay, so now we've got the tape nice and flat. And there's the bottom grommet, and there's the top. So I know I can push it through the tape right here, so it'll be in good proportioned. Put it through the bottom, then through the top, and then through the tape. So I've got enough room with that pin that it has enough room. And then I'll go ahead and flip it over so I can readjust the magnets. Okay, we'll readjust that magnet, and we'll go ahead and readjust the back magnet. Okay, so it's nice and flat. Okay, so now we'll work on the next grommet, which is underneath the tape. Grab a pin. So there's the tape, nice and flat. We'll push it through the bottom grommet, through the top, and then through the tape. Now we're getting close to the plastic portion, so we want to make sure we're going through the tape and not the plastic. So go ahead and push that through, pull it back, and we'll go ahead and attach these magnets and flap it over. Okay, so you can see how that material is nice and flat. Okay, so now this grommet is on top, so we're going to need to flip the material. Okay, so once again, you got to make sure that that tape is nice and flat. There it is. There's the bottom grommet. Once again, be careful not to pierce the plastic. We're going to go through the tape, then through that bottom grommet, through the top, and then through the tape. Okay, pull it back. We'll flip it back over so that we can show you the attaching the magnets. Once again, the magnets will try to push towards the center, so you'll have to separate them, pull them towards the end on both sides, and then flap it over. Okay, now we're on the last grommet. So once again, here's the other important tip when we're going to put this one on. So we don't want the heavy portion going towards the top of this end. We want it going towards the bottom, so it'll stay out of the way of the magnets. So here's the top portion. We can see the tape is nice and flat. We're going to push it through, and this time we're going to go through the top grommet, and then through the bottom, and then through the tape. And be careful not to pierce the plastic. And so now when you see the heavy portion, the mass portion of the pin is towards the bottom, well away from the magnets. So now we'll go ahead and flap it over in position. And so now we've got the magnetic strips attached to both sides. We can flip them over. And now they're attached.